Welcome to OurVentura TV. My name is Nicole van Dam, and our guest today is John Muscarella, the current owner of Lynn's Jewelry Studio, who has been creating and designing jewelry since 1976. John, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So let's go back in time. In 1976, what were the 5 most important tools of the trade?
In '76, I was in high school, and we were learning how to hand make pieces with wax. So wax would be one of the main items. It would be a file, sandpaper, polishing machine, and casting machine.
Casting machine. Okay, let's travel back to today.
Okay.
What are your 5 most important tools of the trade today?
Computer, casting machine, and still the hand tools, the files, because we have to do the fine detail and everything with that by hand. And what else?
And a 3D printer?
Oh, the 3D printer is after we use the computer to design it. We put it on a 3D printer or a CNC milling machine.
And is that CNC machine designed particularly for jewelry then?
This one is scaled down from inches. They recalculated it to work with millimeters. So it works really nice for the jewelry industry.
And when you say computer, your software is?
It's called Matrix. It is a jewelry design that is off of a Rhino-based CAD program.
And is it 3D? Can you spin things around?
You actually can. There's one section where you can actually rotate the piece 360 degrees.
And then your 3D printer, is that also specifically for jewelry or from anything?
It's for pretty much anything that will fit on the pad, the growing surface.
And do you have a printer that you use that you like?
I have a Form 2. It's a brand new one that we have. We have also a Envision Tech. It's a little older, and it's about 4 years old.
So you're right on the cutting edge. How do you keep up with all this technology?
Through the internet, and we have seminars that we go to about every 18 months to 2 years.
Is there a jewelry trade show that you go to?
There is one coming up soon, and it's the Las Vegas Jewelry Show. And then there's a gem show in the first week in February every year.
So you've got to keep up with technology, but you also have to know gems. So technology is not the full story, obviously.
Correct.
So what are the 5 most valuable gems?
Well, you have diamonds. Everybody loves diamonds. And then there's, in my opinion, I think alexandrite and rubies, sapphires, and emeralds are the big money and big name ones.
So diamonds, do they come in more than one color?
Diamonds come in 41 natural colors.
41?
Yeah.
Are some colors more valuable than others?
Red is the rarest. Red, I had a chance to see 3 red diamonds, and we got to hold them. It was amazing. They were certified from GIA, it's Gemological Lab of America, and at the time when we got to see these diamonds, there were only 23 diamonds in the world graded as red, and they're very expensive diamonds.
How much would something like that have been?
That diamond, it was a carat 38. It would retail for about $1.7 million.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It was,
And have diamond cuts changed through the years?
yeah. They back in the 1800s, they had diamonds that they would cut them in the shape that came out of the ground. Those are called miner's cut. And then in the late 1800s, they learned how to spin a diamond against another diamond called bruning, and that would make them round. And then they would facet them from there, and that's a European cut. And then in 1919 is when they came up with the calculations of an ideal proportion diamond that is Tolkowski cut is what they call it. And it's a 58 faceted diamond. and it comes to the point on the bottom comes to a complete point, where with the European and the miner's cut, they would cut the bottom of it off and facet that.
So you could actually sort of date roughly a diamond just by looking at the
Correct, correct, by the way it's cut. And then there's also a bunch of new modern cuts that people have come up with. We used to sell a 105 faceted diamond called the Gabrielle, and then there was another one that he came up with, was a 100 faceted that was a 9-sided top table, and that was called the Zoe cut.
And you mentioned sapphires. Do sapphires come in more than one color?
Sapphires actually come in any color in the rainbow except red.
And what is the most valuable colors for sapphires?
Is the cornflower blue or Ceylon blue. It's the deep blue, really, with the brilliance that come up from underneath.
And what is a chemically enhanced stone?
Chemically enhanced stone is, there's different ways. Rubies and sapphires, they are glass filled, so they look like they're nice looking diamonds, but if you look under magnification, there's a lot of fractures in them, and they fill them with chemicals to make them smooth. And the big thing with that is when you're working with that, if you put it into some chemicals that we use to clean the gold, it damages the fill, and you can't have it repolished. It has to be refilled.
And do they ever change the color or enhance the color using chemical process?
Well, the sapphires, a lot of them are heat treated to change the color of the natural stone. A lot of the natural sapphires are white, and when they reheat them, they add other chemicals in them to change the color, to put a color coating on them.
Now, does that alter the value at all?
It does, but 99% of sapphires today are treated.
Really, that higher
Yeah,
percentage?
that's how you get all the multicolored rainbow jewelry.
So these are real stones that are treated to be enhanced in some way.
Yeah.
What about artificial stones? What are they?
Laboratory grown are made in a laboratory. They have corundum, that is sapphire, and they do the red, the blue, an orangey sapphire, and those are made in a laboratory grown under pressure and heat, and it's just the chemicals, the same chemicals that they are made in the earth, they are made in the laboratory, and
And there's artificial diamonds too, I
it's
assume.
done pretty much the same way, yeah.
And is their value different than the real thing?
Yes, the value on the synthetic diamonds are roughly between 40 and 50% less than a natural.
Is the technology blurring the line between artificial and real?
It is. It's making it harder and harder for gemologists to pick them out, and without the high-priced machinery to do that. They have the labs have machines that are $100,000, $250,000 machines that are able to figure out if it is a natural or a laboratory grown.
And if someone came to you with your dream gem to do a design for, what would it be?
It would be an alexandrite.
An alexandrite.
Yeah, I love alexandrites.
Okay. Now, we've talked about the technology, we've talked about the stones. We need to put those pretty stones in something. Tell us about precious metals. What are the main types of precious metals?
You have platinum, gold, and silver.
And does gold come in different colors?
Gold comes in a lot of different colors by just changing the alloys in the metal. By changing the metal with the alloys with more copper in it, you'll have a pink. If you go with a lot more copper in it, you'll have a red. It's a deep, deep pink. And then for white gold, they have different alloys for the white gold that changes, because gold, when it comes out of the ground, it's yellow. And to change the color, you're bleaching it more or less with other metals to change the color.
But how can you tell the difference between white gold and platinum?
By its weight. There's platinum is a lot heavier than white gold, and if it's an older ring that's been worn, a platinum, if you look at it, will have a lot of little scratches in it, and it turns it like to a gunmetal gray compared to the white gold. The white gold usually has a yellow tint to it if you look at it under magnification.
So, you know, when you're looking at someone who wants to maybe enter, you know, the jewelry trade, wants a career in jewelry design, and they've got to learn technology and gems and the precious metals and what makes a functional design, what advice do you have for them?
Well, for education, there's some schools around in California. That's one's down in one is down in Carlsbad area. It's the Gemological Lab of America, GIA. They do give jewelry classes where you can learn to design, you can learn to do jewelry repair, all the facets in being a jeweler. You can go to a school up in San Francisco area called Revere Academies, and you can actually get a master jeweler's certificate if you do all of their classes. But you can also just take 1 or 2 classes just to get some knowledgeable information and learning how to start.
Gosh, we're almost out of time. Is there a website of yours that people could go to learn more?
It's linsjewelrystudio.com.
Thank you so much. I wish we had more time. I hope you found this interview to be a true treasure. This is Nicole van Dam signing off for this episode of Our Ventura TV.